Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it's greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this in one go, therefore I apologise in advance if I stumble over my words going forwards, and if the quality of this video is fairly poor too. If there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it's not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision Song Contest related video here on my channel. First things first, I want to say to anybody who might be watching this that I hope you are safe and well. Most of Europe is now on lockdown because of this virus. Obviously, this year's contest, which was scheduled to take place this May in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, is no longer taking place. And we are just waiting for news regarding the 2021 edition more than anything else at the moment. Today it was announced that the BBC will be broadcasting a show on what would have been the night of this year's grand final. I believe it's going to be a look back at some of the classic performances in Eurovision's history, but also focus somewhat on the songs that would have taken to the stage at the Ahoy in Rotterdam this May. Whether this show will be broadcast in other parts of Europe, I don't know, but certainly the BBC will be broadcasting this retrospective programme with a focus on this year's what would have been this year's contestants as well, and that will be in May, and Graham Norton will be hosting it. So in this video I am going to focus on the runners-up of the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm going to be reacting to a video. I've seen this video before, I should say, albeit not for a while. Hot Music Charts uploaded this in July of 2018, and it's called Eurovision All Runner-Ups 1957 to 2018, so it does exclude last year's runner-up Italy. But I thought that I would watch this video and just tell you my thoughts on all of the songs that have finished in second place in Eurovision's history so far. Obviously there's not really a whole lot to talk about with Eurovision at the moment, I guess, because, excuse me, this year's contest is no longer happening, but I still want to film videos going forwards, and I thought this would be a pretty interesting video to film. There is another video that Hot Music Charts has uploaded as well, all the third positions in Eurovision from 1957 to 2018, so I might react to that one at some point too. Anyway, I should say that the video you're watching right now will not have the video I'm reacting to in the bottom corner, so I do apologise for that, but feel free to check out this video online anyway, and then you'll know what I'm reacting to. So I'm going to get straight into this. And yeah, all the second places at the Eurovision Song Contest. So in 1956 there wasn't one, so moving forwards. 1957 was France, La Belle Amour, Paul Desjardins. And I was thinking about this just the other day. So many great singers in Eurovision way back when, arguably better singers than what we have these days. Let me know your thoughts on that. And the orchestra just makes everything sound so much richer and better. And this is a string-filled ballad. Nothing truly amazing, I suppose. 1958, Switzerland, Liz Assia, the first winner. I believe this was her third consecutive entry for the Swiss. Giorgio. And I believe 58 was the contest with Volare for Italy, and I can't believe that song didn't win. But anyway, a classic. 1959, the UK. Da, 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 da. Sing Little Birdie, Pearl Carr and Teddy Johnson. Bit cheesy, but very jaunty. Pearl Carr, I think, passed away not so long ago. And then we have his brother, Brian Johnson. Looking high, high, high. I mean, that is quite the voice. 1960. Everybody dressed so much smarter as well. Oh, this is great. 1961, the UK again, the Allisons. I want to say that they weren't actually related, but I could be very wrong saying that. Are you sure? Da, 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 da. Sort of a toe-tapping melody. That's a great song. 1962 was Monaco, De Rien, which I think means it's nothing. François de Gelt, Yeah, so many of these songs are grand, you know, big sweeping melodies. You just don't get that these days, which is a bit of a shame. 1963, T'en vas pas, Switzerland, Esther Ofarim. Quite dreamy, this one. I should say, for the benefit of those of you who may not have watched a lot of my videos in the past, I became a Eurovision fan in 2003 and much more of a Eurovision fan several years later. My knowledge of the contest throughout my life, I would say, is pretty strong. So 1993 to the present day, I know a lot about Eurovision. Anything probably 1980 I'm a little bit patchy on, but I'll have heard all the songs at one point or another. Anyway, back to the video. 1964 is the UK again. Da 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 da. I Love the Little Things, Matt Monro. No footage, of course, of the 64 contest, really. Great song. The UK sent a lot of really happy sort of songs back in the day. You know, nothing that was really miserable. Wow. I mean, if we had just converted some of those silver medals into gold medals, then we would be well ahead of Ireland in the all-time winners chart. Anyway, Kathy Kirby, the UK again, 65. Another quite buoyant tune. Great vocals. Yeah. Sweden now, 66. Lil Lindfors, who'd later host, and Svante Turreson with a beard. This is a very playful, cheeky song. Da, 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 da. Great melody. Oh, Sean Dunphy, Ireland, 67. This is a great runner-up. Should say this is one of my favourite runners-up from the contest pre-1975, 1970. This is a great song. I'll never... Yeah. Lovely. Very pleasant song. Cliff Richard. Huge star. I mean, he's still really popular here in the UK. 1968, congratulations. Lost by a point. Apparently he was in the bathroom during the voting because he was so nervous. This is a classic. You still hear it today. 1969, there was no runner-up, so moving on. 1970, the UK again. Knock Knock Who's There, Mary Hopkin. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. I mean, yeah, another playful song. Spain, 71. In a New World. En un mundo nuevo, Carina. That's a good song. And you can really start to tell now as we move into the early 70s that the contest is building and building in terms of popularity and the production value. Colour TV. The New Seekers, 72. Most of whom weren't British, I think. That was at the Usher Hall in Edinburgh, I think. Good song. And then Motadades, 1973, Eres Tu. This is a classic. One of the best songs Spain's ever had, that's for sure. I think this reached the top 10 in America, which is seriously impressive. Great song. Gigliola Cinquetti. I always thought this song was a bit overrated. She did have one of the all-time great winners in the 60s, but this song doesn't do anything for me. The Shadows, best known for their instrumental music, and Cliff Richard was part of the group, I believe, way back in the day. My father was a fan of their music. Let Me Be the One. Da 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 da. Yeah. 1976, France. Quite an upbeat song, this, Saint Antoine. I do apologise, this is not the most exciting video, but I thought it would be interesting to film nevertheless. 1977, UK, this is a classic. Back to back on the piano, rock bottom. Lindsay DePaul and Mike Moran. Look at the conductor wearing like a bowler hat and everything. Jean Vallet for Belgium. Still one of their best ever results, this. Bit of a dull ballad though. Yes. Is this Spain again? It is. Su canción. Betty Misiego. Yeah. Some of these songs I haven't heard in a long time. Katja Epstein for Germany. Theater. Not great if you're a fan of clowns, this one. If you're afraid of clowns, sorry. One of the most successful singers not to win. I think she finished third one year as well. Johnny Blue. Very close to winning, beating Bucks Fizz this for Germany. Lena. Johnny Blue. Da, 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 da. Yeah. And then Germany would win the following year at last. Israel, Hora. This is a great song. So much energy in this. Great performer, all in white. Da, da, da. Israel have had some cracking tunes over the years. And then this one as well, Ofra Haza with High. Very similar to the previous song in many ways. High, high, high. Da, 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 da. All in yellow. Not a fan of the colour, but a great song. Linda Martin now. Get a load of that hair. Terminal 3. Second place in 84 for Ireland, and then she'd win in 92. Not a bad song. This is Wind for Germany. I don't know if they're still a band. I think the lineup changed numerous times. Für alle. Again, one of the most successful acts never to win, because they came back and finished second. This is the Bergen Contest, 86, Switzerland. Pas pour moi. A sort of stirring tune. Daniela behind the piano. Big hair. You can tell this is the 80s. Here's Wind again. Let the Sun Into Your Heart. I don't think this would have been a very strong winner. But it's a fun song. A sort of reggae beat. Scott Fitzgerald. Not to be confused with F. Scott Fitzgerald. Somebody completely different. He nearly finished as the winner above Celine Dion. Very close voting. Not a bad song. And then Live Report, 1989. I think this song's a bit overrated. Second place. It's alright, but not one of our finest. 90s now, France. White and Black Blues. Joël Ursel. Massive hair again. Da, 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 da. This was a bit ahead of its time. Very different. And she tied for second place with Liam Riley for Ireland. Typical Irish stuff, this. All the way through the 90s. Somewhere in Europe. Yeah. And then, we have to talk about this. This is one of the finest songs never to win, in my opinion. Amina, who I think was of Moroccan descent, Algerian descent. Don't quote me on that. C'est le dernier qui a parlé qui a raison. Fun fact, one of my Master of Fine Arts degree manuscript poems was titled after this song. Maybe I'll make a whole video about my university work at some point, because Eurovision does tie into it a bit. Anyway, 1991, France. This is great. Using the scarf to great effect. This is effortlessly cool. Da 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 da. C'est le dernier qui a parlé, qui a raison. Yeah, great song. This is one of those tunes as well, that the first time I heard it, I was a bit young, didn't really appreciate great music as much as I do now. These days, I can really appreciate it. That's a great French entry. Of course, it tied with Sweden, but Sweden won on the tiebreak. Michael Ball. This is great. Great voice. One Step Out of Time. Arguably should have won. And Michael Ball is massive here in the UK still. I mean, he's releasing albums left, right and centre. He's done theatre productions. He works with another musician called Alfie Boe, and they've had #1 albums within the past couple of years, so he's done very well for himself. Still popular. One reason to put this love... Yeah. And then the UK again, Better the Devil You Know by Sonia. Such an upbeat tune, this. Catchy. Just not a fan of the outfit. But that matters very little. Poland. Their debut entry, and they've never done better. Edyta Górniak did try to represent her country a few years ago, but lost out 2016, I believe it was. Great voice. She must have been barely 20 years old here. A song that I like more than I did, let's put it that way. Hell of a voice, this one, Annabelle Conde. She came back in 2005 as a backing vocalist for Andorra. This is a great Spanish entry. Sultry, cool, great vocals. 96, Elizabeth Andreasson, former winner. Ievichiet. Very dreamy, ethereal, reminds me of the music of Enya, if you're familiar with her work. It's interesting that in 1996, the top 3 all sounded fairly similar. You know, all these haunting, dreamy songs, you know. Very interesting that that happened to be the case that year. This would have been a fine winner. Mark Roberts, Mysterious Woman for Ireland, 97. This is an alright song. Turkey finished 3rd, and I think Italy were 4th. Those 2 songs are better than this one. More memorable. And this is the last time the UK finished 2nd, Imani, who I don't think has done much since. Very 90s. The dreadlocks. Not a bad song. Iceland, their first 2nd place. Selma, she came back in 2005, didn't qualify. Good energy here. 2 guys in long flowing outfits. Moving into the new century then. Alsu, she'd co-host in 2009. I think she was 16 here. She wasn't terribly far away from winning. This is a decent pop song. Rollo and King, Denmark on home soil, nearly winning again. Country. This is a great song. I'd have been happy if this had won. It's worth watching the 2001 contest online somewhere, because all I remember about the voting procedure is the guy here on stage, the one who's doing most of the singing. All he does during the voting is puff on a fag. He's just puffing away on his cigarettes. Oh man. Malta. This is great. Honestly, this I think should have won. Either this or the Estonian entry that year. 7th Wonder. This is such a sweet song. Really simple but effective. She blew glitter towards the camera at the end. Urban Trad for Belgium. I've always thought this was overrated. I'll be honest with you, loads of Eurovision fans love this song. I've never been able to get into it much. San on Me was in a made-up language, very nearly won. Very close voting procedure. I like it more than I did. Yeah. It's just a very interesting melody and tune in general. I think people were really surprised by it and appreciated it. It's how different it was to everything else. Željko for Serbia and Montenegro. I think the first 40 seconds of this song was instrumental, but what a great song this is. Another great example of a song that at the time I would have dismissed, but now years later I can really appreciate it. This is in my personal top 10, I think. Beautiful song. If Serbia sent something like this again, they'd probably win. Malta finishing second again in 05. Chiara, third in 98. She came back in 09. A fine ballad. Great voice. Malta have never done better. And then we have Dima Bilan. The Woman in the Piano. Always thought this was a bit overrated as well. But it's not a bad song. Always going to do well. He was massively popular back then anyway. Verka. Dancing Russia Goodbye. I mean Lasha Tumbai. What can you say about this? It's arguably the most popular song never to win. It's arguably the most popular song of the century so far, and it, like I said, it wasn't even a winner. Verka Serduchka. Just a bit too silly to win. But there's no denying it was a hell of a performance. You would not get Ukraine sending something like that now. And then they were runners-up again with Annie Lorak, which is Carolina backwards. And I can't believe, looking back now, that this didn't win, or Greece, who finished third. Because the Russian song that won that year was fine. This was the Belgrade competition, but this performance blew Russia away as far as I'm concerned. The choreography, so much energy, nailing the vocals. Great stuff. Iceland again. Johanna could easily come back for Iceland and do well. Brilliant ballad this. A distant second behind Alexander Rybak. Great song. Always loved it. Manga for Turkey. Very popular band. Woman dressed as a robot. Lots of flashing lights. It's a good song, but again, second place? That's a little generous, but it's a very good song. Bit of a rock number. And then Italy came back after years away. Said, stuff it, we're going to do something completely different from every other country. We're going to send jazz. And they finished as runners-up. And I remember the voting procedure, which was quite extraordinary, because it was such an open field that year. We might have had something similar this year, of course. But Italy were well behind, and then really surged up as the voting went on, and nabbed second place right at the end. I wish we had more songs like this. Rafael Gualazzi. Classy, classy stuff from Italy. Well, what do you expect? Great. And then from something really fantastic to something ridiculous, the Grannies for Russia. Party for... I mean, it's catchy, but it's silly. And I can't believe this finished in second place. Oh dear, the public really overrated it. In the public half of the votes, I believe, the Grannies very nearly finished above Loreen, which would have just been outrageous. So... And this is overrated, in my opinion. Azerbaijan, 2013. Woman in the big, long red dress. Man stuck in a box. Great singer, Farid Mamadov, but the song's a little overrated. And then this. My favourite song never to win. The Common Linnets, Calm After the Storm. Well, one of my favourite songs never to win. I never get tired of that performance. It's so deserved to do well. Second place, absolutely justified. I don't think it's a boring song at all. I think it's very engaging. Their voices worked so well together. Absolutely sublime from the Dutch. Polina for Russia. The amount of people who have reacted to this song on YouTube is unbelievable. 1 million voices. The lyrics, nothing we haven't heard before. But the song is great. It is great. Damiim, who will be back in contention for Australia next year, of course. Sound of Silence. Never been a big fan of the dress, but there's no denying that she can really sing. She nailed it. And she would have won, except Jamala did instead. Well, here's another bit of an overrated song in my opinion, Christian Kostov. I mean, for somebody so young, he did a really good job, and the song is not that bad at all. But I find it quite dull. And then Cyprus, Eleni Foureira, Fuego. One of the sassiest, sexiest, most confident performances I think there's ever been at Eurovision. And I'll be honest with you, I think they should have won over Israel. That's just my opinion. Doesn't really matter much, but this was so much more striking than the Israeli performance. At least for me. I've watched this performance back plenty of times. The Israeli one, not so much. The hair flick. Yeah. I mean, you can understand why people voted for this in huge numbers. And it could be another 40 years before Cyprus do better than that. And that's it. Of course, last year's runner-up was Soldi for Italy, and that was a great song that very nearly finished above Duncan, of course. It was always going to be a close-run thing, but in the end, Duncan finished, I think it was 20, 30 points ahead of Mahmoud. But still a great song, and that song, Soldi, sold like hotcakes across Europe. It was doing so well in the charts. It was always going to be the most serious threat to arcade. And the performance was great. Wasn't a huge fan of the visuals on the backdrop, and I'm not sure he needed other people on stage with him necessarily, but still fantastic. Anyway, that was a big, long, rambling mess of a video. I hope you enjoyed it, even though you couldn't see what I was reacting to, but the video's there online, Hot Music Charts, the uploader. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'll be back at some point reacting to the third placed songs in Eurovision's history. I do apologise if you could hear any dog barking in the background. Oh, so irritating, can't be helped. But yes, feel free to let me know your thoughts. What is the best song never to win the contest? There's a question for you. Feel free to let me know your thoughts. There'll be links to my other social media pages in the description below. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay as healthy as you can be, and bye for now.